Hey guys, welcome to Jack's Treasures and What? Not Another Reselling Podcast, where we talk about live reselling. Our podcast focuses on live portions of reselling. I don't edit because I'm extremely lazy. We are raw. We don't try to sugarcoat, and I definitely don't want to blow smoke up anybody's behind. We try to bring you the truth about live reselling.
Our topic today is how to build a video game selling empire on Whatnot, even if you're just starting out.
That's right. And I got a special guest for y'all today. Okay. He's actually one of Jack's Treasures OGs, guys. His name is Tim. He goes by that narrator dude. He's a seller on Whatnot. He's a proud father. Not only that, but that narrator dude will give you a clue. He's an audio book narrator. He's one half of the Tim and Liam music and co-host of the Love Gods LOL podcast. I can't hear about that one. He's a mentor to Jack's Treasures in the video game category, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, he started. He was the first seller to ever raid into one of my shows, and I totally ignored it because I did not know what raid was. But Tim still decided to be our friend, which is just an amazing thing. I have enjoyed his shows, and we are glad to have him as a guest to talk about video games on Whatnot. Now, guys, y'all know I sell video games. He's the one who really sells video games and makes it fun, makes it entertaining, and it's taught me a lot about video games. So, Tim, I'm going to allow you to do a brief introduction of yourself, sir.
What's left? I mean, you nailed it. Yeah, I'm just a dude over here doing my thing, living my life, having fun with my friends on a podcast. So that's really it. You got it. That was a great introduction.
Thank you, my friend. He's also a Buffalo Bills fan, and of course, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. So they make me cry, and they are definitely making me cry this year.
Well, listen, I'm crying right now after our game yesterday. It was brutal.
Oh, it was Atlanta won?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm actually really surprised by that. I really
We
thought
all
you
are.
guys are stout. Y'all are stout. I mean, I
Yeah.
totally admit that. We got to fire our coach and get rid of our quarterback and actually get a quarterback that is going to live up to the hype.
Yeah.
He does not.
So how did you get started as a narrator of audiobooks, and what's the most popular book you've ever done?
Yeah. Most popular book I've ever done probably would be a book called Icebreaker. It's
Right.
a romance, a hockey romance. That book kind of
Wow.
really
Okay.
blew up. It's either that or another one called The Things We Leave Unfinished, which that's another one that has really gets a lot of attention for me. So that's
I
fun.
feel like I've actually heard of that one. I
Yeah.
think that might be one that my hairdresser told me I should read, and I have never gotten
It
around to it.
yeah. The author is Rebecca Yarros, so she wrote like
Okay.
Iron Flame and all those books that completely blew up. And she wrote it before that. It's much more of a timepiece romance. So it was really cool.
Okay.
Um, I got started because I I used to be a full-time touring musician, so I played all over the country, played in every continental US state,
Oh my
and
God.
that's all I've ever planned for my life. When I was a kid, I was like I was going to be a musician. That was it.
Mhm.
And so when I knew that was coming to a close, it was like what do I do now? Like this is I have other things I can do, but this is all I've ever really wanted. So it was a matter of figuring out what to do, what was next. Um, so I did a lot of stuff. I did sales. I did door-to-door sales. I sold vacuums, knocking on doors, selling
I love
$3,000
it.
vacuums. Yep. Um, I sold dick pills overnight at a call center. I s- I did a lot of stuff. But while I was doing all these things, I was listening to podcasts and
Mhm.
all these podcasts about how to start a business and all this stuff. And so I started my own podcast that was like, showing my journey. But
Mhm.
how this relates to audiobooks is I did my own intro for the podcast, and it was like, in a world of terrible entrepreneurs, one man, like that whole
Yes, yes, yes.
movie trailer thing. And I got so many messages of people like, hey, will you do my podcast intro? Will you do mine? So I started doing that and I started charging for it. And became a full-time voice actor through that process. So if you've ever seen, The More You Know on NBC, I'm the voice of The More You Know. If you've
Oh, wow.
ever gone to AMC movie theaters and you go before the movies, I'm the guy that's, getting you hyped up for the movie.
I
And
love it.
yeah, and I was doing that. And the thing about that kind of work is it's really, it's gig dependent. So it's like you're hired and fired the same day. So
Right,
it's like,
right.
I might get a commercial and I might get paid whatever for it, but then I don't have a job again. And so
Right.
my coach who was teaching me how to do certain things was like, you should do audiobooks. And I was like, I love audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks all the time. So I started auditioning for audiobooks. I got them. I fell in love. And now I get to act all day instead of spending all day auditioning.
That is
That's
awesome.
I'm telling you right now, that's the dream right
Mhm.
there. Is find something that you love to do and stick with it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that part. All right, this is our questions and answer. We call it Real Talk Q&A. This is where we ask the tough questions.
All right.
These things are so softball. It's not funny. To our guests, and hopefully we gain some very important knowledge.
Question 1, how did you get started reselling?
Yeah.
Ooh, I think the same way a lot of people got started reselling was YouTube.
Mhm.
I watched all these resellers, and for me, I'm a gamer. I love video games. That's like my therapy. So when I'm
Mhm.
having a tough day or struggling with the kids or work or whatever, video games are my therapy. But I saw some resellers that you could tell that like they really love video games as well, but they also love the idea of finding a rare game in the rough and getting it to somebody who will really appreciate it. So for me,
Right.
I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And so I started, getting on Facebook Marketplace and buying on Whatnot and asking friends and family if they had any old video games. And it all started. My first video game sale was on Whatnot. I started out
Wow.
on Whatnot.
Oh
I've
my
been on
God.
there ever since.
I think you may be the first person that we've interviewed that was your first
That's
reselling
right.
experience. So
Mhm.
that's
You know
cool.
what? I think that is a first
We
Yeah.
have
because
someone
everybody
in the
else.
line that is also the same way that we're going to
Yes.
be interviewing soon. But I think you
Nice.
are literally the first person we've resold that has said that.
Mhm.
That is absolutely amazing. What first inspired you to start selling video games on Whatnot, and how did those early shows go?
The early show, weirdly enough, they went kind of okay. I know everybody
Okay.
has horror stories about how bad their first shows were. Mine were kind of
Mhm.
okay, not because I was good at it, but I just happened to like my first collection that I ever bought was a bunch of really good high-end GameCube games. And
Mhm.
Oh
so
yeah.
it was pretty easy. Like I didn't have to do anything. They just kind of sold themselves. But I had been watching so many shows. Um, but I think I watched a few sellers like who aren't around anymore, but one whose name was Jesus DLS, and he was
Mhm.
the king of horror video game mystery shows because that's what I do is
Right.
mystery shows. And he did these shows. He had on like black rubber gloves and stuff, and he had this beautiful set, and all the games were really great, and like the ambiance was so good. And I was like, "That's me. I'm an actor. I want to do this. I want to put on an experience like this." So that really is what inspired me to start with mystery shows. And but yeah, my first show was good, and then there were some stinkers here and there, and
Mhm.
I've got
We've all had them.
I've got some
Yeah, I think I
friends.
had one last week.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that. Not your show, but my bad show. But I've had a few friends that are like, your early shows, I got some terrible stuff in your mystery shows, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was doing.
The thing about a mystery show is that you're playing to try to get obviously the banger item. You
Hmm.
know, the floor and the ceiling was your floor and ceiling was always to me spot on. And even when I got the bottom item, you would always throw something else in there.
Hmm.
Or you'd be like, oh well, you paid $43. You're going to get Madden NFL 07 for PlayStation
Never,
2 or
but
whatever.
okay.
I'm going to throw something else in
I
there.
would never put
Obviously.
Madden NFL in any of my
I
mystery
was,
shows. How
I
dare you?
think, the funny thing is, I think it was Tim who remember when we were doing those disc only of the
The GameCubes.
GameCube games, and I was doing you pick
Oh
any
God.
four, and I had like 9. Okay.
Uh,
They were like Paper Mario and the Thousand Journey, something or other, right?
uh-huh.
One of them was Pokemon Stadium, all for the GameCube,
Yeah.
right? And I was starting everything off at like $3, and you get to choose whatever the ones that you want.
Yeah.
Tracy writes me a note, right? And
Uh-huh.
says, end this show right now. We have a family emergency, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. We have a family emergency. And she goes, did you look these up? And I go, no, why? And she goes, this is $100 game. That's $100 game. And that's
Yeah.
$100 game.
That's when I learned I don't leave him to his own devices. I at least check what he's going to put into a show.
Yep.
And at
Yep.
that point, there's no way we were going to get more than probably about $10 for it. And
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. We were going to get more than that. But the thing was, is somebody was going to grab all of them.
Yeah.
All of the 4 ones that were the bangers that were in there.
For
You know,
sure.
so yeah, when you said I got a game and thing, and I'm sitting there, there was all GameCube. I'm like, oh shit, that reminds me of that
Yeah.
really, really bad show that we had.
Yep.
That one, you know. But it's so much fun because that's part of the learning experience
For
for
sure.
us. You know, is learning what's good, what's not, and definitely how to build a good show. And you know, watching my friend over here is one of the things that definitely helped with us.
Well, and
what
you sell
types of-
everything too, so that makes
We
a
do.
difference too, because you need to know at least enough about a billion different categories. Whereas for me, I only need to know about the thing I already knew about and loved. So it was like it wasn't that hard to learn all of that stuff. But if you're going to sell you know, against a bunch of different categories, there's a lot of knowledge that you either have to
Oh
have
my
or gain
gosh,
or be
it's-
willing to research. It's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he's also being very modest too, because one time I was doing a Blu-ray show. Okay.
That's
I
a
grab a Blu-ray
Mhm.
and I'm thinking this is a $2 Blu-ray at best.
Mhm.
It went for $32. And I
Mhm.
go, what the hell did I miss on this? And my friend over here says, rare out of print.
Mhm.
And not only was it rare out of print, but the one that we had was it was sealed. I don't know if it
Mhm.
was a reseal, but it was sealed.
I bought that
So-
one, I think.
You
Yeah, I
did.
think you did.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. And I
Yeah.
asked, and I literally asked you, I said, Tim, what did I miss? And you said it's rare out of print. And I said,
Mhm.
damn, I need to get better on doing all of those things.
Sometimes it's fun to just throw when we have so little into them, throw them in the
Yeah,
show and
that's
have those
exactly
surprises
it.
too.
Yep.
We have so little
that's
money
fun.
in our video game consoles, and we actually have no money in our video game consoles anymore that I have because
Yeah.
of a storage unit buy that we did, which we got just super ass lucky on that one.
What types of games or consoles seem to attract the most attention in your shows?
It is like a lot of things, it's cyclical. So you
Mhm.
never really, I mean, you can kind of read the tea leaves and see what's hot right now and what's not hot right now. GameCube is always pretty popular, but it's sort of, I wouldn't say it's like on a lull, but it's not as popular as it once was. Switch for a really long time was like, if you put Switch in your show, you were all said it was going to sell really
Right.
well. But funny enough, as we're recording this yesterday, I had one of my shows and it was all
Mhm.
Switch. And it was the first show that I've had in my entire Whatnot career that did not sell out. So
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
yeah, it was a really rough one. We had fun. The chat was really engaged. It was a good time, but I could not sell those prizes to save my life. So that's like an interesting example of you just really never know what's really going to be hot. You just kind of, what I do is I watch other streams and I see what people are going crazy for, what people are excited about.
Mhm.
Right.
Nintendo, like NES Nintendo is always popular no matter what. You can always sell
Right.
it. But there is such a huge disparity between, you know, like some like Silent Service or, you know, Mario and Duck Hunt, that there's 50 bazillion of them and they're kind of tough to sell for more than a few bucks. But then you have some games, you know, that are just really, really valuable. Complete in box is always worth good money for, you know, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Those, any of the cardboard box stuff usually does really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've known,
Xbox does not do well. Xbox 360 does not sell well on Whatnot. It can do okay on eBay, but it's generally, I try to stay away from buying Xbox collections unless it's a part of something else where there's PlayStation or Nintendo or
Right.
whatever too.
Right.
I can guarantee you, though, if we were doing a GameCube show, someone would come in and ask for Xbox 360.
It
Yeah.
always
Never
happens that way.
fails.
Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely do have that. That somebody's going to ask about something that in my title, I will say all PlayStation.
Yep.
They're going to come in and they say, "Got any GameCube?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Is it PlayStation?"
Yeah.
You know,
Every single
every single
time.
time. You know,
Yep.
but that is very, very interesting because even those games that are really cheap, like the sports games that we were talking about, if
Mhm.
it's in the cardboard box, like for an N64 with the complete inside that box, it'll sell for a lot.
Yeah.
For
You
a
know,
decent
That's the
amount.
thing is
Yeah.
and more than eBay. That's the biggest thing that
it
I've
can,
noticed
yeah.
is that so many of our games we can sell for at or above eBay pricing, you know, and then some of them
I think
obviously
the
we
boxed
cannot.
games are more that people can get a good look at the box. They see all the
For
pieces. Whereas
sure.
eBay, people take 2 pictures, throw it up,
Right.
but they get a better idea.
Yeah.
What do you think are the biggest myths about live reselling that new sellers always believe?
That it's just about the product. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people think it's funny because I just said my first show went so well, even though I didn't know what I was doing because I had great product. But that's only it's only a part of it because a lot of people, some people are watching just because they want to buy something, they want to get a deal, they want to get a price, whatever. But
Right.
the sellers that are consistently the most successful are putting on a show. And it
Mhm.
might not even be it might not even be the kind of show that you think. It doesn't have to be a performance. It doesn't have to be you don't have to be particularly funny or whatever. It's a show. Like there's a seller, I won't name
Sort of
names.
like me.
Well, you're funny. You guys are funny, so it's entertaining to watch.
We're not even trying to be funny. Oh my gosh. I'm just
But
teasing.
there's one particular seller, and like he's kind of mean to his audience, and sometimes they're kind of mean back to him, and it's almost like that is his brand. Like the brand is, you're going to go in there and he's going to shit on you for not paying enough money for something that you're buying from him, and you're
Yeah.
going to kind of rip on him and be glad that you ripped him off or whatever. And that's the performance, that's the show, and people tune in because they're having a good time and they think it's funny to try to rip him off. um or there's there are other times, like for me, I do a horror show every year, sometimes multiple, but like every year around September, October, I'll do a horror show that's all horror video games, and I put on a scary voice and I dim the lights and I might do some decorations, and I really make it a thing, and people always come out like they look forward to the horror show
Mhm.
because it's a
Mhm.
performance, it's something special. So you don't have to do anything crazy, but you can find ways to sort of build a brand that is what people look forward to. And that can be, like it can be that you are the cheapest, like for me,
Right.
I'm adding a second category. I'm doing movies now.
Mhm.
I did my first movie show last week.
Oh,
And
yay.
for movies, it's a little bit different because it's just like other things. There's boutique stuff, the really high end expensive stuff, and then there's just movies that people want to buy because they want to watch them.
Right.
And for me, I get my movies really cheap. I just have really good sourcing for movies. It's really hard to get games for cheap, but movies, I can get movies for really cheap. So I'm able to sell them cheap. So for me, it's $2 starts, sudden death. You get whatever you want. And I sold one that was like $40, just like you were talking about. I sold one that was $40 for like $7 last week, and I was happy because I paid 50 cents for it or whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
Exactly.
it's a different thing for each thing, but if you can find a way to have good product and also be entertaining, it's like the 1-2 punch, and you can win.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. J Ride Flips said pretty much the same
Mhm.
thing that you have to have three things to be successful. One of them is a good product, and one of them is a great personality, and I think the third one was
Price.
a good price.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and those three things can help add up. He said that you at least want two of the three,
Mhm.
because some people really don't have that personality,
Sure.
i.e.,
Or
myself.
maybe they're selling something and they can't do those super low prices. But then in that
Right.
case, you've got to have that
Yeah, you have to have that
personality
banging
and amazing
personality.
stuff.
Yep.
I will let you know, Tim does have that. He does a mystery type show with his with his
Surprise sets.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
surprise sets now. Yeah.
whatever surprise surprise set, which he does it so well because he doesn't even know who's going to be getting the banger item the way that
Right.
he does it, which is phenomenal. Because I got the banger item in one of his shows,
Mhm.
and the same number, I was going to use the same number because it was number 8. I used the number 8, 8 or 11, I don't remember. It was
I think
something.
it was 8 that
Well,
time.
it was 8. I just chose 8. And then I was going to choose 8 for the second round, and it was the damn banger again. And
But you beat
I
you to
didn't do it. And somebody,
I remember that. I remember that. It's
yeah,
not often
it
the
was
same number.
phenomenal. I was like, man, I love it. So he's making it fun. So he made me spend like, whatever amount of money that I spent and
Mhm.
stuff. Now, remember, guys, what I'm telling you, I'm a video game seller too. So what I'm buying from him, I'm literally going to try to sell to. And I have yet to make a dime. Okay? But I still go in there and buy some of his stuff because it's that atmosphere and ambiance that he creates that
Mhm.
makes people want to say, I want to participate in this. Jen's Multiverse
I was
is
about
a
to name her as
master
well.
at this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People go into her shows and they want to participate. They want to be entertained. They want to be part of that stuff. And so they buy
She
some
makes
of her
you
stuff.
feel good about winning the floor. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's
that
great.
running a good surprise set, if you're able to do that, then that's going to get you a leg up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you can, part of that comes from the sourcing, right? If you can find really good stuff and you can pay a reasonable price so that you have that margin so that you then can put it in the show, and then for people that lose, you can help them out a little bit. I try to do that when I can. In the early days, a couple years ago, surprise sets were called mystery shows. That's what I
Mhm.
came up on, mystery shows. And every prize would sell for more than the average. In every show I ever did, it was like, if the average value was $35, I would be selling everything for 45 or 50, and I could start it low and it would go way up. And I'm not really comfortable with people overpaying. I do this for fun. I just enjoy doing it. I don't
Yeah.
really do it to make a lot of money. It's just fun. So I would always throw in stuff, and it would be like good stuff to the point where I felt like everybody
was.
was winning, right? It's harder to do that now because, for two reasons. One, it's harder to source video games now. Everybody is looking for video
100%.
games, right? It's really
Yeah.
fun. Everybody likes video games. So it's harder to source them. And then two, Whatnot does not like surprise sets. This is
No.
kind of a new thing. They are starting to really tamp down surprise sets. So now in the search, if you go to look for active shows, surprise sets are always at the bottom, and you can't pay to promote a surprise set
I
anymore.
heard about that.
Well, we're definitely going to have to thank Nicole State for that.
There's a few people to blame for that, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's interesting that that's happening now. But that also leads to my margin is really tiny on video games now, and so I can't throw in as much as I used to. So it's made me have to adapt or adopt and kind of change my style a little bit,
Mhm.
to do things like buyers giveaways, which I also don't like doing anymore because so many times the people that win it aren't the people that bought. So it's a
Right.
constantly evolving and changing thing that I think if you're
Right.
not flexible, the business can swallow you whole.
Oh, no doubt. I think I was talking to Jeremy at Green 13, and he was the one who was telling me you have to constantly feel out how you're going each quarter,
Mhm.
what is happening, see if there's trends that are trending. And in video games, definitely there are trends that are trending.
All the time.
And also, you have to be willing to adapt. You cannot stay in your little cubby hole, your little comfort zone. You have to be able to adapt and change. So,
Definitely.
great points, by the way.
I'm going to change up this question a little bit because of
Okay.
something you said earlier. Do you
Wait,
sell?
that is a great question. What are you talking
Well,
about?
no. Do you sell on other platforms like eBay and Mercari?
I didn't until about 3 months ago. I just got
Okay.
started on eBay, and
Oh, okay.
it's gone really well for me to the point where it's made me feel good about the fact that Whatnot is down for me a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, movies helped me kind of kick into that because I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell movies on Whatnot, and I came into some really nice collections. But yeah, eBay's been great for me, actually.
Awesome.
How do you get your collections? Are you doing a buyout at estate sales, or do you got a bins, or?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't go to bins. There's not really a Goodwill near me. I don't go to estate sales, sometimes garage sales, but for me, it's been libraries. So I'll go to library book sales. We have one in my town. I live in a pretty small town, but it's like a decently affluent town. And so people donate Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff there. And they have a book sale once a year where
Mhm.
they'll lay out all their DVDs and Blu-rays, and you can get them for $4 for $1. And then on the last day, they do a bag sale that's a $5 bag, and you fill the entire bag. And they'll be like, you can bring a sleeping bag, you can bring whatever kind of bag you want. It's $5 to fill the whole thing up. So I did that.
Wait, you can fill your own bag?
Yeah, you fill your own
So you
bag
can
with.
get one of those big trash
Mhm.
They just want it gone.
oh
They
my
want it gone.
God. All right.
It's
We need to go up there one
it's
time
funny.
with Tim.
There is a huge library sale in the county over from us, Cobb County Public Library. I went to that religiously every year of my life until maybe 15 years ago. It blew up. It
Oh,
got to the
yeah.
point that if you wanted to be reasonably fast in the building, you were having to show up at like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, camping out overnight.
Yeah.
And it was chaos. And if you just try to show up right when they open, you're not getting in for 3-4 hours, and everything was picked over. But
Yeah.
that is, I believe, either the first or the second largest library system in Georgia. So it
Makes
was
sense.
a big deal.
It's
And I
small
miss
town.
it.
Small towns.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yep.
that's where I've had the most success. And the thing is, when I went to one a town over. It's about 30 minutes
Mhm.
away. Um, and I had messaged them ahead of time, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just curious, are you going to have any movies, DVDs, VHS?" And they were like, "We have boxes and boxes. Please come." So when I got
That's
there,
awesome.
we went the day early, like the preview, and we bought like a Friends of the Library membership, so you could go a day early. We
Mm.
went a day early, and there was a long line. There were a lot of people there, and nobody was at the movies. There was like one guy that
Wow.
was at the movies, and he was like, he's picking through, and I was like, "Oh, you found a 4K? That's awesome!" And he's like, "Oh, you want it?" And just hands it to me. And I was like, "No, no, no! This is for
Wow.
your collection. Please keep it." But I went to leave, and they were doing a bag sale 2 days later, and they were like, I was like, "I'll be back for the bag sale," and they were like, "Do you want to do the bag sale now?" I was like, "What do you mean?" They were like, "Please take
Oh
them.
my
We
gosh.
want you to take all of them." So I went back and I started filling up a bag. I grabbed 2 bags. I'm like, "I'm going to start with this," and they were like, "How about this? You see all those VHS over there? Go take them all. You can just have them." So I got boxes of VHS tapes, and then I came back the next day and they wanted all the DVDs gone. So I got all the DVDs, and I donated. I kept donating money because
Right.
I felt weird taking it. But that's
Somebody got
my main
upset when I brought VHSs home.
Okay, to be fair, this was 10 years ago, and you
They
couldn't
were
give
a
them
nickel a
away.
piece
You
when
could
I
not
got
give them
them. A
away 10
nickel a
years ago.
piece that I got all of those things.
You
Yes,
still can't give a lot of them away, to be fair. It
Mm-mm.
is really
Oh yeah.
you
Oh, yeah.
find a diamond in the rough. Like it's most VHS you literally can't sell.
Right.
But some, like especially horror, that's a tip for anybody. Horror VHS can still be viable, and in fact, if it's
Absolutely.
like something kind of obscure, it can go for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Have you found any strategies that help build trust with buyers, especially for higher value or retro games?
The first thing is showing in detail and pointing out flaws. I think
Mhm.
people are so afraid to show the flaws, but when people are buying expensive games, they want to know. Collectors especially really care about the condition. They might be buying a new game of a game they already have because they want a nicer condition one than they already have.
Mhm.
So showing that detail and being like, "Hey, here's a little dent, or here's a tear," or showing imperfections means a lot in the video game categories. Another thing is being really open to things like returns. Some people don't like returns, but I'm big on returns. If there's something wrong, like let's say they say, "You know what, I tried it and it's not working. This game isn't working." I do test all my games, but I'm one person. I'm a one-person show. Sometimes I
Mhm.
miss a game. You never know. And so
Absolutely.
I
Wait
tend
a
to
minute.
talk.
Wait. Hold on a fact. There's not a Mrs. Narrator, dude, lady.
Nope. Nope. My kid's mom and I are best friends. We raise our
Okay.
kids together, but we're not in a relationship. And she'll help me if I ask, but I do this all myself.
Running those shows by
Okay.
yourself is
This
amazing.
is you
That's
did have
incredible.
somebody in one of your shows one time.
I did. I was dating someone for a little while.
Okay, okay.
Come in and hype up
I'm
the
sorry,
show
I
stuff.
didn't mean to dredge up.
No, you're good. You're good.
But when you said that, I was like, wait a minute. I know that there was somebody that was at one of his shows. He
Yeah.
actually called her Mrs. Narrator, dude.
No. She took the name Narrator's girlfriend.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
that
it.
was
Okay.
it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
We are no
okay.
longer together though.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's
All
okay.
right.
It's for the best.
What mistakes do new sellers make when trying to build a video game selling community?
Yeah.
Um,
Me ignoring a raid. That's
That
one.
was a
That is a big one. But yet, somehow or other, Tim saw something in me. Okay.
You guys are
'Cause
great.
he was still nice to me when he came in the shows. He didn't block me or anything, but he literally rated me with like, and it was like 100 people, and my show went from
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 12 to like 100 and something like that.
Brian's
And
like,
I
what are all
didn't even
these
know what
people
the hell a
doing here?
raid was. I didn't even know what a raid was.
Yeah.
And so it was like, so yeah, that's the first tip. I'll give it. I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to give you that one.
Yeah. I would say trying to like focus on pure profit, as much profit as
Mhm.
possible. I think a lot of new sellers will be like, well, this price chart's for this much, or eBay sales are this much, so that's how much I should get. When you're new, the best thing you can do is start to build a relationship with your customers. And one way to do that is to not be so focused on nickel and diming, because at first people aren't going to want to pay full value. In fact, a lot of times on Whatnot, people don't want to pay full value. It's why they're coming to Whatnot. People are looking for a
Correct.
deal.
Right.
And so if you can get them a deal and get them in the door, and then they get their product and it's awesome and they like working with you, and you shipped it carefully, and it shipped it quickly, and they get it and they're happy, then they want to come back and buy more from you. And that's worth way more than that one sale that you made a few extra dollars on. Building those relationships. I look at my statistics a lot on Whatnot to see like people that buy from me a lot and who my top sellers are or top buyers are. And my top buyers, it's crazy how much stuff they buy from me. I have
Mhm.
like my top 10, the lowest in my top 10 has bought 100 plus games from me.
Wow.
What's the one lady that you have? That
Desi
come
Lou,
in
she's
show?
one of my best friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
She's come into a couple of our shows and stuff.
Yep.
She is an amazing supporter of the entire community.
Yep.
She
Yep.
usually buys a mystery pick
Mhm.
in Tim's shows
Mhm.
and then gifts that to the chat.
Yeah. She gives it away pretty much every week, and sometimes more than one. Yeah.
She's
That one
amazing.
doesn't count though. She's one of my best friends. So like I didn't cultivate that relationship through Whatnot. We've already been
Right.
friends, and she just happens to like all the same things that I do. And she's such a generous, giving person that she's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is cool. I get to support my best friend, and at the same time, I get to make somebody's day. So like I
love
just
that.
lucked out with such an amazing person as a friend there. But in terms of like the customers and stuff, when you start to cultivate those kinds of relationships and they come around and they're there all the time and they're hyping you up and they're talking to everybody else in chat and doing that, it starts to multiply, and all of a sudden you have this community that's there every week or however often you do your shows, and the community will talk you up. And then when somebody comes in, this happens to me a lot, where somebody will come in and they'll be like, oh, look, somebody just won, a $10 game and they paid $40. And everybody else in chat jumps all over them like, hey, we know what we're getting. We love this kind of show. We're happy with it, right? But
Yeah.
you do that by cultivating those relationships, by giving people good deals, making sure the stuff is clean, shipping fast, making sure it's packaged well. And all of a sudden, you don't really have to like promote yourself because other people are doing it for you.
I love that.
Yeah, I think
It's something
Tracy and
we've
I have had that
experienced
with our
too.
video game consoles that I was selling untested.
Mhm.
And when because we started everything off at $1, because at this point, this was a huge storage unit buy that we bought that had all of these
Over 3
consoles.
years ago at this
Yeah,
point.
over 3 years ago. So we're
Wow.
well into profit. I mean, literally, this storage unit probably paid our whole cost of living for the last 3 years. That's how
That's
much money we've
amazing.
made on this unit.
Wow.
So at this point right now, I don't care to test because, like Tim said, it's just Tracy and I, and video games is usually just me. But I was selling them all for $1, and I
Right.
would tell everybody, I said, look, these are untested. Okay, if I know that they're broken, I'm going to tell you that they're broken. And people will come into the show and all of the time will be asking, did you test this? And Tracy doesn't even have to respond anymore. But Matt
Matt and Saul.
Matt and Saul, they will jump on that stuff so fast. It'd be like, these are all untested games and stuff like that. You can ask other people. Some of them have gotten that didn't work. I think one of them was Lowrider Girl.
She got one that didn't
She
work,
got one
but
that
I don't
didn't
think I've
work.
ever
She still
gotten one
buys
that
from her.
didn't work. And I bought a lot of them from you, and I think
You
they've
have.
all worked. So
Yeah, and I don't test any of them except for that one that you wanted just the inner part.
yeah,
Because you were
yeah,
making something with it, and I knew that one didn't work.
Yeah.
Or no, it did work, but the
It worked.
outside of it was just trash.
It was ugly.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sell him that one, and I sold him that one pretty cheap. What's been your most memorable or surprising sale during a live show? And you can't say me.
My most memorable or surprising, I would say, I do a charity stream every year, right around Christmas. We have a local organization here that does they do, it's like a food bank, and they also do clothing. They do a lot of stuff for our local community, and they feed a ton of families. Because even though a lot of people know my town as sort of a more affluent town, there's a lot of poor families that are struggling to get by around here.
Right.
So anyway, so every year I do a show where I take donations from people in the community, but also across the country. People that come to my shows will send me games and stuff like that. And then I do a show where everything, 100% of the money that comes in goes directly to this organization. We did like $4,500 last year. We did $3,800 the year before, all in one night. It's amazing. But one one of the years, I remember I put up a game that was $100 game, and one of the guys wanted this game, so he bid it. He got to $100, stopped bidding. It was getting down, and then he bid himself up, and then he bid himself up, and he bid himself up to $500 for this
Oh my
$100
gosh.
game. And he was
Oh my
he's like,
gosh.
I can't wait. I'm so glad I get this game I really wanted, and that money goes to a good cause. He's like, what was I going to do with it? Buy more games? And it was like,
Right.
this kind of stuff
That's
is
amazing.
incredible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was memorable for sure.
And I will tell you, there was, I think it was last year or it was 2 years ago, a member of the what not selling community in video games passed away. I
Yeah.
think he was in a car accident while he was
No, he
yard
had
sale.
cancer. He had
Okay,
cancer.
he
Cancer.
had cancer. Tim did a charity show for him, and he gave away a a Game Boy SP, and it was one of the flip ones, and it was like $140 game at that time, and he gave it away. Okay.
Yeah.
And to me, that is just something that when I saw that part of it right there, and he said, we're going to go right into their show right now, I'm going to bring all of these people in there. I said, this is somebody that I don't care what, I want to be associated with him.
I mean, that's a
Because
whole
he's got
community
the
though.
heart.
That wasn't me. That is a whole community of people. That man, the Monster Den,
Yeah.
was the heart of the video game community on Whatnot. I
Mhm.
mean, there were probably people that didn't like him, but we all loved him. Everybody who was in the video game community just loved that man. He was so generous. He was so kind and funny and loving.
Mhm.
And his loss, we all felt it. I mean,
Right.
I'd never met the guy in person, you know, like I joined his streams and we chatted on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. But like, I cried when I found out he died. And this was somebody that, you know, he just had such an impact. So for us to be able to, you know, contribute to his family, you know,
Yeah.
we ended up contributing a lot of money. I was
Yeah.
a tiny,
That is
tiny part of it, but
awesome.
it was just awesome to get to do that. That wasn't me. That was a whole community wide effort.
Well, for me, it was you.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, you introduced me to that part of the community.
Mhm.
And not only that, but you also share your sellers. And that's one of the things that I really, really appreciate. Because the comic book community on Whatnot, as great as they are very tight knit with their sellers. They want their
Wow.
sellers to be in their shows.
They're
and
buyers.
They're buyers, and wanted their buyers
Oh,
to be their buyers. Where it's like, yeah, man, go check out this guy's show. You won't be disappointed. And you know, obviously, whenever you pop into my show, I'm giving you the biggest pop I possibly can.
mhm.
And it's every single time I do it, it's very genuine and it's from my heart, because it's you introduced me to that. When I saw that meant so much to me that it helps me to do our Ray Train, which is Thanks Veterans Ray Train, which is coming up next month, and Tim is a part of that. And for us, when we do our show, 100% of our sales all go to Stop Soldier Suicide
during that train.
Yeah.
Which right now all of our tips go to Stop Soldier Suicide, because that's one of the charities that we work with. But it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think that is a good tip for new sellers as well, is to, one, like, be generous not only with the way that you treat your customers, but also with other sellers, because you build that network of you guys are the perfect example of this. Every one of your shows is full of sellers who are just screaming about each other about how great they are and buying from you, and then everybody goes to their show and then everybody's buying from them and screaming about how great you are. That kind of stuff can make a big difference. And it's not, it used to be back in the day, and in a lot of my shows, everybody that was buying from me was buying to resell, because I had only sellers in my community, and that happens on Whatnot.
Yeah.
Right, that's common, but that's not the point. The point isn't to get a bunch of people to buy from you. The point is we build this community, we build each other up, and I do believe that if I'm successful and you're successful, that's going to help, because now people come on Whatnot, and if they go in my show, they see somebody who's honest and takes care of them, and they want to stay on Whatnot. They come into your show, they see somebody who's honest and is going to take care of them. They want to stay on Whatnot, and now we have buyers that stick around and keep coming back. Whereas if somebody gets screwed their first thing they buy or their 10th thing they buy, why would they want to come back? And that's one customer who could have bought from you that's gone.
Right, exactly.
I would always suggest to people to don't be afraid to meet people outside of your items that you sell. We sell mostly video games, but we do sell everything. But I swear, if I look through my chat, almost everybody in my chat is either selling ladies' clothing or snacks or plush.
Wow, yeah.
And they come and they hang out in our show, and I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
How do you balance selling popular titles with showcasing more niche or collectible items?
Luckily, in video games, collectors are generally either they already know what they're looking for, or they're pretty open to more niche titles. In fact, sometimes the niche titles sell better than the more popular stuff. Switch is a great example of that. Everybody has Mario Kart 8, but this limited run title that they only made 10,000 of, people are looking for. So for me, it's just a matter of, again, seeing what's selling on eBay and also in other Whatnot shows, seeing what people get excited for and trying to buy that. I would caution people that want to get into video games or that are already in video games, don't just look at values of stuff. It's just like with eBay. You have to look for sell-through rate. You have to see, are people willing to buy this thing? Sure, the last sold might have been $200, but if nobody is buying it, it's not really worth that. I've made that mistake a few times where my ceilings have been really valuable, unique games, but nobody was really interested in it. So people, the show might have struggled. So look for things that people are interested in, that are selling when they come up on eBay or on Whatnot. And then, mix that in with the popular stuff, because that stuff always sells pretty easily anyway.
Yeah. One of the things that we just discovered is we actually sell on two platforms. We sell on Whatnot, obviously, but we're starting to sell on the District. District is another live selling platform.
Cool.
And we sell on multiple marketplaces on the District. And we've noticed that, like Atari video games, for instance, I was having to bundle up like 6 to 10 Atari games to sell them for like $2 or $3, where I go over there and I run them over there and I'm selling them. One of them would sell for $2 or $3 a piece.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where find that where that niche is for that particular item, and it might be able.
And I think the thing is, nobody else was selling them over there, so it was a novelty.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that for us, I tried to do is I'll put together bundles of items to help boost those sales. When my margins are very, very big, because I pay next to nothing for my video games. So when I get in these games, they might not be the best sellers. Like, here's an example right here, Disney Infinity, for the Wii U. Now, I paid next to nothing for this. I mean, when I mean that next to nothing. So what do? Is I got 3.0, 2.0, and the original all for the Wii U. Well, I bundle all three of them together, and automatically I took a game that was going to go for $1 if it sold to now going for $5, and I paid nothing for it. So
yeah,
there's a lot of different things that you can do to mixing in those things.
That's the thing with doing it the way we do. There's a lot of junk titles that we have to get rid of.
When I get a bulk buy, I have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, for sure.
So and that's how it works. Where do you see the future of live selling for video games heading? Do you see bigger communities, new tech coming out, or something else entirely?
That's a good question, because I'm at a weird phase in my career as I'm considering what's next for me, just because I have noticed more and more my shows are struggling. So my show yesterday was a great example. I've been on Whatnot for 4 years now, almost 5, I think. And it's the first time I haven't sold out a mystery show. So that leads me to be like, am I starting to lose touch with what people want? Are mystery shows starting to go away? And if so, what do I want to do? Because it's all I've done. That's been my primary thing.
Right.
So between that, and then I've had some shows lately that have struggled a little bit, and I've had some that didn't struggle. But it's always like, okay, where do I want to move next? What's happening next? So when it comes to that, where do I see live selling going? I think right now you're really getting rewarded if you're doing dollar starts. Your show is going to get much more attention. I think that's a big thing. I think that prices in general, you're going to get less than eBay as things go on, but you can sell more faster. So if you have the margin like you guys have, I think that's cool. In terms of technology, I think it's nice to see more things happening where you can get, like, the camera can be on you and then the other camera on your products. I think built-in to be able to do that is really cool. I think having things that would combine stuff like, what's that other platform? I don't know if it's doing all that well, but it's videos. It's like eBay, but it's videos. Do you know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the name of it right now.
Off the top of my, do you?
Not off the top of my head.
I know that eBay is doing lives now, but they're not. I don't think they've breached video games yet. They're still doing jewelry and cards. So that's the beta program for them. There's District is a live selling platform. Jamble is another one, but they're not specific to video games.
Well, this one is not. It's not specific to video games either. It's collectors. But it was like, instead of live selling, you would have a video and people would be bidding on an auction like it's eBay.
Oh,
so
that's
it's
interesting.
It's laid out like Whatnot, but instead of going to a live show, it's just a product with a video with the seller being like, hey, here's Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories. Here's what it looks like, blah, blah, blah. You can bid on it. There you go. But I think novel ideas like that kind of combine different things and having a wide strategy, I think that's the future for sellers, that want to be as successful as possible.
That's awesome right there. I like that.
And our last question in this segment, what advice would you give someone who wants to break into live video game selling but feels intimidated by the competition?
Well, I would say that a lot of us don't look at ourselves as competition. I'm really happy to prop up a new seller who gets out there and it's clear they're going to take care of their buyers. So, and I know a lot of other sellers like Brian and Tracy and other folks are more than happy to prop up new sellers. So I would say, be active before you start selling. Be active on that live selling platform and start chatting with the community. Let them get to know you and who you are. And then as you're going to sell, you can message a seller that you kind of frequent their chat and just be like, hey, I'm going to be doing my first show coming up. Could I mention it in your chat? Would that be okay with you? For me, I don't need people to ask me, but a lot of sellers do want you to ask them. So I don't care, but for some sellers, you want to ask them, and then ask them and just pop in chat. Hey, I'm going to be doing my first show if you guys want to check it out. that can help you to feel a little more comfortable because these are all the people you've been chatting with. You've already
Yeah.
built kind of friendships with them. I think that's the best way to get started. And then even if you don't sell much, you've gotten like your feet wet and you made some connections and some friendships.
Yeah. Going along with what Tim said, if you're live in the show, you can ask in the chat.
You can, yeah.
If you can, you don't have to DM them or anything like that, but definitely do ask, because there are some sellers that are going to say no.
Right.
And for me, I would never say no. And Tim knows that. I mean, I'm going to prop you up anyway. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to tell you, go ahead and prop your show up. I'm going to see if I can bookmark it. I'm going to try to see if I can get bookmark for you, try to do anything that I can.
Yeah.
But so
It's
terms
just
of terms
polite.
terms of service say that you cannot do that. So
Right.
make sure that you do ask, because some people will say no, I don't want you to do that. Especially a lot of raid trains. They'll be like, don't promote another show that you're
Right.
having
Oh,
during
yeah,
a
'cause we're
raid
gonna
train, which
raid.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean,
Which
there's
makes
one
sense.
seller, I don't mind saying his name because I'm going to give him a compliment. His name is Son of Baldy.
Mhm.
And he does surprise sets too, and he does really like long ones. So like mine, I do usually 10 or 15 prizes. Mine are really
Right.
short. My shows are done in a half hour. But he does like these really long multi-hour shows. But while he's live, I'll pop into his show before my show's going to go live, and I'll buy one of his prizes and try to win something. And he'd be like, narrator, hey, aren't you going live in like 10 minutes? And I'll be like, yeah. He'd be like, okay, hey, guys, I know I'm live right now, but narrator's going to be live in 10 minutes. Head over to his show and buy some stuff. And then he, while he's streaming his show, will come into my show and buy one of my prizes. He's actively selling and buying in my show.
Oh,
There
I
are a
love
lot of
that.
people that are like that on Whatnot. So
Right.
it's not hard to break into it. And if somebody's an asshole to you, just know that that's not the person. Go on to the next seller and they'll be
Yeah.
10
Mhm.
times
Oh yeah.
nicer than anybody else.
That's the thing. This is such a huge community, which is why I love Whatnot so much,
Me too.
because it is a huge community. There are people that don't like us, and I know that, and I'm not their cup of tea,
Hey.
and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine,
Yep.
because there are other people that do. And same thing with me. There are some sellers that I don't gel with. I'd be in their show. Tim and I were talking about that, where they would be rating their sellers. That's just not me.
Yeah,
And so for me, I'm like, okay, I don't have to go to that show. I don't have to
exactly.
follow that
Mhm.
person. So it's really good. All right, that is great information, Tim. Absolutely awesome. This is our What's Up section. So what's up with everybody out there in the reselling world? Whatnot is helping some of the larger sellers to host a Whatnot reseller meetup. They have events. They have had events in Florida, Maryland, Texas, and I think in Southern California, or they're getting ready to have one in Southern California. And this week, they are working with Joe Hollywood in hosting a meetup in Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Of course, that's where we live in the Atlanta
Once this
surrounding
comes
areas.
out, unfortunately, it will already be over.
Yes, it'll already be over.
We're going to be there tomorrow.
We will be there tomorrow.
Nice.
Now this is my question for you, and it's something that I have a huge opinion on, and I wanted to hear your input on this. Do you think that Whatnot should be using larger sellers to be the host of these events, or do you think that they should just be the ones that are hosting the events themselves?
Never thought about that. I think that there is value to propping up the larger sellers and using that as a springboard to getting
Mhm.
other sellers and getting more buyers. Especially, people with big YouTube channels. Obviously, that's how Whatnot grew a lot initially, is using these
Right.
Yes.
big YouTube
Yeah.
channels. I think that's useful. But what I think that I don't know if this applies to events as much or not, but I think Whatnot should be propping up some of the smaller sellers. I think that's a thing that they don't do very well. They really
Agree.
love their big sellers, but and yes, I understand that that's where the majority of their profit comes from. But the smaller sellers, in aggregate, if you start to promote smaller sellers and they start to be successful, then that spawns a whole new generation probably of sellers. I don't know how
Right.
many people that have been in my shows that have bought stuff and then were like, hey, I'd like to become a seller. Any tips? And like, they from being in my shows or your shows or other, video game seller
Mhm.
We've
shows.
seen it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I'm going to become a seller now. And that means more profit for Whatnot. So I do think Whatnot, I think it should be a two-pronged approach where they're using big sellers to kind of be their marquee, but then they should be uplifting some of the smaller and mid-sized sellers that don't get the attention that those big sellers get. What do you think?
I agree. I agree
My
100%.
worry is we all saw a couple of weeks ago when the Whatnot seller Cool Kicks got rated on air when he's doing it. I'm sitting there thinking, when Whatnot puts their names behind these people and then stuff like that happens, it makes Whatnot
Yeah,
look
and
bad.
my point I don't know how this will sound, but this is my point on it. If you look at the overall profit that Whatnot is making, if you wanted to went by percentages, it is not going to be their largest sellers. It's going to be all of their smaller sellers, because that's the majority of the sellers that are on there. 90% of the sellers that are on Whatnot are of what we would consider to be smaller growing sellers.
Mhm.
That's more of their profit based on the fact that we're selling more stuff.
But
Now, granted, looking at a show,
right.
yes, someone like Joe Hollywood, who sells like $15,000-$20,000 in a show, and that's a small show for him, that's a huge profit per a show, when I've never made any of that. But overall, to me,
That being said, I'm happy that we're going to get to hear him speak and hear
Yeah.
kind of what made him, but I still would have gone to the meetup without the name attached.
Yeah,
That's not what
for me. But what
brought
you
us
said
here.
about propping up some of the smaller sellers, I think that's a very, very important thing, because it bit him in the ass with Nicole State, where somebody is out about $100,000 from everything that has been said, you know, and now Cool Kicks, you know, is on that thing. And those are two names that Whatnot literally threw everything behind.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we talked about it last week, but you know, hopefully this event will be good. Have you gone to any events?
No, in fact, I've only ever met three people, three other sellers that I'm friends with on Whatnot in person. Because there was a big video game conference locally, and I got to meet them there. But outside of that, no, I've never been to a Whatnot event or anything.
Well, we're going to have to change that number and at least make it 4.
Yeah.
And try to get up to that Buffalo area, because I know you're in the Buffalo area, right?
Nope. I'm in outside of Syracuse, so it's about like 3-4 hours from Buffalo.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah,
that's
it's not
even
too
better.
far, but central New York State.
All right. So next is our Shine Light.
This is where we bring attention to 3 sellers at 3 different levels on Whatnot.
Any live selling
new
platform.
sellers, growing sellers, and established sellers. Today, our new seller is Tony and Joanne. They sell under the name the Luttrell_family. They are a reselling family and Whatnot. They have 174 sales and 712 followers. They sell as a family and are huge supporters of the community. They sell vintage items and are just super positive. Question: do you think that selling life is better with a partner or doing it alone?
I don't know. I haven't had the experience, but I imagine it would be. I'll say this. My kid's mom helped me a lot with the charity stream, because it is so much stuff and it's so fast. And it was really, really helpful. So I do think if you can have somebody to help you, whether it's a romantic partner or a friend or business partner,
Right.
or whatever, I imagine that would be so much better.
Awesome.
I've said it a million times. I would never do Whatnot if it was just me. I don't have the personality for it, but doing it as a couple, it works out really well.
I think you do.
And the funny thing
thank you.
is, believe it or not, I don't think we would be near as big if it wasn't for Tracy, because everybody loves Tracy. Obviously, Tim's words right there, you know, and they love our interaction, and that definitely does help spark our shows, because they know that we love each other completely, and everybody knows that.
I give them permission to pick on him.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
And that's actually one of the things that I love when I see somebody coming into the room. Betty, I'm definitely talking to you, coming into the room, not even knowing us, and picking up on the fact that, yeah, I can tease this guy and he'll appreciate that. Our growing seller is a seller named Rick. He goes by the moniker or username Digging for Gold. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been in some of his shows, and even though he is a growing seller based on his sales number, This guy's going to be huge.
He's insane.
He
also.
really is.
Nice.
He's a seller on Whatnot, and he currently has 7.5 thousand in sales and 21.1 thousand followers. Now, generally speaking, that would put him in the established one, but I went with the growing one because of the sales number. He sells bundles of items like comics, jewelry, Pokemon cards, coins, gold. He sells bundles of gold, not one, bundles.
He will put out a tray and it'll be like, this is all sterling silver jewelry. And then I'm over here like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm swiping because it's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silver, gems.
Yeah.
They get all of this stuff from storage units, and they do estate sales, and they do other buyouts. So they really, really are just phenomenal people. And we had talked about this a little bit earlier on. But do you think selling bundles is better for cheaper and more common video games?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, there are some games that you're not going to be able to sell without a bundle. You couldn't get somebody to give you $1 for Xbox 360 sports games, or even more modern sports games. Yeah, Connect, that kind of stuff.
What was that Elmo game that you sold in a bundle the other day? And the guy wrote you and he's like, I never would have bought this.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know why I got this. I think I got somebody else's thing. And I said, well, you bought it in a bundle. And so you got all of them. And he goes, you know what? I remember that now, because I would never buy this game. And I'm like, well, yeah, I had to put like 7 video games together and start them off at $1. And then they all went up to like $14, which was perfect.
Yeah.
It was all games that I sold already.
I just sold a 20-pound. It was a 20-pound box, a giant box of video games. It was all sports games. The entire box was filled top to bottom of sports games for like $60. But I was like, you got a giant box. Even if you just use the cases, it was like worth it, you know?
Right.
I still think my favorite bundle that I've ever sold was Blu-ray.
Oh, no. Okay.
19 Blu-ray sold for $1.
Oh my God. I wish it was
19.
I wish it was
for
me.
$1.
And it was the end of a show. We ran through everything, and he was like, I'll run it in a bundle. Usually it goes well. That did not go well.
It did not go well at all.
Yeah. Do you remember selling the boxes of DVDs and Blu-rays? Or no, maybe it was just DVDs.
Yes.
Yeah. And I bought so many boxes from you. I remember getting just tons of boxes of DVDs from you, and I was like, if you ever do that again, I wanna do it.
I might do it again. I know the one thing, because like I said, I buy bundles, I buy buyouts, and my buying cost is so damn low for what I get that it would be easy for me to do that.
And our third seller we're going to focus on this week is an established seller. It's Levi and Laura. They go under the name 60. They're sellers on Whatnot with 19,000 in sales and 11.1 thousand followers. They're everything sellers. They sell from storage units, the Goodwill bins, and other buyouts. Levi is also an Army veteran and someone that we're proud to call a friend. They will be sellers on our Veterans Day Raid Train. Question: do you think sellers should diversify where they're getting their items to sell?
I think that sellers should find sources that work for them. It's different for everybody. I would suggest not sourcing.
We're not having an earthquake, folks. My cat keeps hitting my cart.
Yeah.
I would suggest not sourcing on Whatnot exclusively. I think you can absolutely source on Whatnot, but your buy cost is going to be way too high to make it profitable.
Right.
But I think if you find one source and that source works really, really well for you, ride it. But beware, because if that source goes away, you no longer have anything. So, like for me, the library is a big source, but that's only twice a year now that I have 2 libraries that I do it at. So, I've been working on finding other sources, and I've found a few good things and here and there. But I think diversifying your sources is good. But you probably have one that'll be your main thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure we put links down below to all these sellers. Check them out. Give them a follow. Follows are free. And
it helps them out.
Helps the algorithm.
Just to give. Yeah, exactly. I always tell people, I say, guys, I just want to let y'all know, I have over 10,000 followers. I have never had 10,000 people in my show.
No. God,
okay.
No.
But it feels great to have that number. Even those bookmarks, I've had shows bookmarked at 120 people, and I would have the show of 25 people.
Right.
So go ahead and do that. Help out these folks, and they would definitely appreciate it. It is time for our favorite segment of our show. It is time to turn the tables. This is where we allow our amazing guests to ask us anything they want to know about Jack's Treasures.
Well, I want to know if you have any tips for sourcing for folks that I can steal as well. But you always have such great inventory and you have such a low buy cost that you keep bragging about. Well, how can we find these fantastic deals?
Storage units.
Yeah.
We do the majority of our sourcing from storage units. Now, this time of year, we're hitting all the yard sales we can because it's fun and we can get some different stuff. But we do buy a lot of storage units.
And one of the things that when you hear about our buy cost, I buy a storage unit. Let's say I buy a storage unit, and there are boxes and boxes and boxes of books or DVDs. Now, normally before we have a consignment store here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is only about an hour and a half away, that I can turn in books and DVDs and Blu-rays and
Toys.
Anything like this, toys, plush, shirt, pop culture stuff. And I get store credit from them. Now, I take that store credit and I buy video games. So my buy cost for all of those items is basically the cost that it costs me to drive to Chattanooga, to have a good time in Chattanooga with Tracy and I spend some time up there, and then to drive back. So my buy cost is next to nothing because we'll do something to entertain ourselves, and I have a tax write-off.
Yeah.
And we walk in and we might have $500 in store credit from that truckload that we brought in.
Yeah. So I get like $500 of stuff that normally I would have been taking it to Goodwill, or I would have been trying to run it on Whatnot for $1 or donating to a library. But now I can turn around and take all of that stuff to that consignment store. So see if you can find a consignment store for things like that. Also, estate sales are great sources of video games because a lot of estate sale companies go under the impression that there's two impressions that they have. All video games are worth $100 or no video game is worth $100. It's one of those two. You very rarely are going to have the ones that are going to look up each individual game. And the majority is the $100 ones. But sometimes, especially when they realize that, hey, Madden 07 is not going to go for $100, they start marking all of it down because they're blanket prices. They do blanket prices on a lot of their stuff. So that's another great source. So thank you for that amazing question, Tim. You are phenomenal.
And thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast with us. It was just awesome. Our guest next week is going to be Scott, also known as the Bearded Picker. He's a YouTube influencer who is going to be talking to us about using AI in reselling. Yeah, he is also one of the very first resellers I ever followed online. So I'm very excited.
Nice.
I'm excited because I hate AI. And Scott is pushing AI like big time. So I want to really try to change my perspective of AI.
One final question for you, and then we will let you go. What does the future hold for that narrator dude?
Ooh, well, I'm gonna try to make a big push into movies because I have so much fun. That one stream I did was an absolute blast. I have similar vibes to when I started in video games, where the movie folks are just so excited and we're all just looking to grow our collection. And it's so much fun to talk about our favorite movies and everybody's tossing quotes in when I put up a new movie. And it's really, really fun. So it feels like the beginning of video games all over again. So that'll be a big thing for me. And then figuring out where I still have a place in video games, or if I still have a place in video games. I think I've got some figuring out to do between now and the end of the year to figure out my push for next year.
Yes. Well, I would love to see, here's my thing that I would like to see from that narrator dude.
What?
I want to see him voice over a video game.
Oh, that would be cool.
I want to see him in a video game.
He did that.
You did?
I'm in a few different video games. Yeah. I'm in a game called Heroes of New Earth.
Okay.
I'm in a game called Wasteland 2, which you probably have come across a bunch of times.
I feel like I've heard of that
I
one.
think
Yeah.
of that one too. I want to get him on Skyrim. Elder Scrolls, come on, Bethesda
Well, that
Studios,
game's
y'all
been
can
made
nail
for a
this.
long time. I can't go back and do one, but yeah, I'd love to do more games. I don't get as many from my agent as I used to, but yeah, that would be fun.
That is amazing. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, you guys have gained some great information as much as Tracy and I did. As always, please, please, please leave a comment down below. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We want to really hit that 1,000 mark. But so leave a comment down below. Help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide. Hit that thumbs up button. Get that notification bell. Also, help us out with the Naughty Cat Cafe, which, by the way, it's not a strip club. I know you really want it to be one, but it is not. They are a kitty rescue place that we absolutely love. And make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And Tim, I'm going to give you the last word, my friend. You have it now.
Thanks for being here. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Y'all enjoy his voice for free here, and then go check him out on his audiobooks later.
Yes, we'll have links down below to all of his channels also, guys. Peace out from Jack's Treasures.